you're aware that you've been diagnosed with mesothelioma?
Oh yeah, 6 different doctors. I had calcified asbestos in the lower 3 inches of my lung, the left lung. Well, it come in 50-pound bags, if I remember. And with a centrifugal pump pulling it, and our centrifugal pumps pulling them, and you would take and tear those sacks open or cut those sacks open and pour it in that hopper.
When you would open the bags, tell me what the material on the asbestos, tell me what the material looked like.
Powdery.
And when you dumped the bags, what was that like?
It was powdery and dust flying everywhere, and you threw the bag over here in a pile.
What did the air around you look like when you poured the asbestos?
When you was mixing a lot of it up, it was dusty, and it would get all over you, and you certainly had to take a bath before you left the location.
Did you have any respiratory equipment or protection?
Never even thought about it.
Okay. Did anybody tell you that you needed to do it when you were handling that building?
Julie? Thank you for allowing me to speak. I just have a request as a GCA parent. As you are aware, GCA is in a building right now that is rather old and has several challenges. It's had a lot of plumbing issues, which Mr. Dangerfield has been wonderful talking to me and working those problems out. There's a large disproportionate amount of electricity that the facility uses because it is an old building. And the most recent problem has been the discovery of asbestos in some of the classrooms over the Christmas break, which is going to be removed and cleaned up over spring break. And Dr. Allison has been great in sending out a letter to the parents and communicating that. However, there are still a lot of questions and concerns that parents in the community have. Therefore, I'm requesting if Dr. Allison and the board could please schedule a meeting and meet with the parents at GCA, hopefully prior to spring break, and maybe address some of these concerns that are in the very near future and long term, as far as moving the facilities and when that may be, that maybe we could move into a larger school. And I would like to request, if at all possible, to please have GCA move to a larger campus by school year 2013-14, if at all possible. But again, I'm requesting respectfully if we could please have a meeting with the parent community at the school to address some of these concerns. Thank you. I think Dr. Allison has a comment about that.
Just very quickly, and it's very timely. Today I met with the with representatives of the president and I believe another executive officer of the PTSO at GCA. I went over there, met with them, and with Jody Dean, the principal, And at that time, I provided some detail in regards to the questions that were asked tonight. And at that time, I volunteered myself to come to a parent meeting that the PTSO were going to be calling, and they said that they would prefer to, first of all, have a meeting without myself there and provide the information that I provided them today in regards to the issues that were raised. And then, if need be, then I would be called back after spring break for a meeting with them.
Eternit problem represents an issue which is only getting started. It's an ecological bomb which is still ticking in other parts of the world, where we see where they've used Eternit plates on the wall of a stall or the roof of a house. They're creating a problem for the future. They don't know that this bomb is destined to explode with drastic consequences. This is something where the European Parliament could be at the forefront in getting the issue discussed at the global level. The European Directive 148 is very clear. Reduction in asbestos exposure will nonetheless reduce the risk of developing asbestos-related diseases for the entire population. That's a fundamental provision. And I like Anita Normack's comment, who is the secretary of the BWI, who says the only safe uses of asbestos is no use. There cannot be any sort of controlled, sure use of this mineral.
Asbestos can actually be used to produce cement. So what was our intention? We wanted to inform people because the institutions had, how can I put it, stopped publicising the need to remove these asbestos plates, this Eternit, from our buildings. And I would like just to call upon the institutions to start this virtuous process, which is necessary in Italy to try and resolve a problem which people have forgotten about. We were not aware of how dangerous asbestos is. We can say that it's either been underestimated or we can say that there are people at fault here. Between 1900 and 2000, over 175 million tonnes of asbestos has been extracted throughout the world, and that gives us the idea of how serious this is. And according to a WHO report, 125 million people have been exposed to asbestos at work. 100,000 people die in the world each year due to exposure to asbestos. Now in Europe, this is the main individual cause of cancer at a professional level in Europe.
Another question is the market. Is the market really clean? So our experience is that on the European level, market surveillance is partly existing, but not very well functioning. That means it is not clear whether we import from other parts of the world asbestos-containing products. To give you one example, it's easy to go via the internet and to order from China asbestos-containing brake pads for the cars. So everyone is able to fix it and to change these plates, and then you have the asbestos in the environment again. Thermos flags for coffee and tea, we import a lot of them, and there is estimations that some 50% of the imported products are asbestos containing.
In Finland, mesothelioma cases are rising nowadays. Finland has stopped the asbestos use in about 1990. But there is a very big using between 1960 to 1975. We use blue asbestos. How we handle the asbestos problems, I think best way is make risk management. And what culture in asbestos demolition work is in the real life. That is a system which means everything, I think so. And supervising government agency policy is very, very, very necessary. There are no government agency policy and inspecting, it means the working make in the old-fashioned way.
Now, the 95th Conference of the International Organization of Labour in Geneva approved a resolution to ban asbestos at the global level. It was a historical decision, the only one of its kind. And after a long procedural battle, managed to undermine the logic of profit in favor of fundamental values and human rights and the protection of the environment. Today, society has to remedy and compensate for the negative effects of asbestos that has provoked in the past and is still provoking now. The lawyer referred to previous exposure and future exposure. Given the mortality, that should illustrate what it means and what it represents to have asbestos present in Italy and other countries now.
Asbestos-induced hazards are well known for decades, and the subject itself does not become obsolete over the years. Many of the asbestos-related deaths remain obscure, and many of the supervising authorities are very toothless in all around of Europe. Asbestos was moved back after the hazard had been recognized and flagrant threats to health were brought under control by legislation. And in recent years, the dangers of asbestos are even underestimated all around in Europe. Now all the attention is concentrated on mold and moisture problems, and even among its management, especially in schools and hospitals, is very low.